We can go.
It is 9 o'clock. Would you all please stand and join us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome to the regular meeting of Pipestone County Commissioners in July 11th. It is 9:02. Serving us today, we've got Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Doug Dale, Dallas Crossman, Commissioner Chris Hollingsworth, myself, and also our administrator, Steve, and our HR director, Kathy Feston. Thank you. First item on the agenda, you all received a copy of the agenda in the mail, one was posted as well. So we need to approve the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I do have several here to go over, please. Item number 3 on the consent agenda, we have add-on commissioners warrants this morning of $7,789.42, $77.89.42. Item to add at approximately 9:45, we'll have IT Director Bill Folger come in to bring 2 proposals to us. One is for security upgrades for our facilities, and the other is interview room security camera replacement. So security upgrade for our facilities and interview rooms security camera replacement. And other business, I request to strike the amended DVHSS agreement with counties at this point. I have Domain was out and I have not heard back from him for his approval on that. So I request that we just delete this until the next meeting.
We will give a little bit of an explanation what that's about. Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that he weighed in on it and he didn't get back to me in time for the meeting. So I just don't want to have the board take action without his approval on it.
Very good. Yes.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, I'd entertain. We can move to approve as submitted. Anybody else? Thank you, Doug. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Also in the back, then was our consent agenda. The consent agenda is made up of minutes then of our 6/27 meeting. Also auditor warrants from 6:30 and 7/7. And also approval of commissioner warrants. And we added to that approval of commissioner warrants of $7,789.42. Also hospital warrants, $407,647.59. And then the treasurer's report from June.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Chris. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Okay, Nick Berger, County Engineer, we're ready to close the report. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I see you got some action items today as well too, not just information.
No, I think it's all information today.
Okay.
Right, first up would be project updates. And the first update I have is 2023 box culverts contract number 2. Construction was going to start yesterday, but then it got delayed to, I'm thinking maybe today. Depends on when they can get the pipe in, but either way, it sounds like it's very soon. And they'll do some of those culverts. And then they'll have to leave, I believe, and they'll come back later to finish it up, but they each have individual completion dates or working days rather. So I think the first one is on the Lincoln County line, so over towards Woodton. So next update would be our 2023 overlays, and all work is complete on that now. Next update would be our gravel crushing. I had here work nearly complete. That was at the time that I sent this out, but it is done now.
And if I remember correctly, this is the first time that we've used this particular contract.
Yes.
Yep. Going well.
It's done. We had I don't know. We didn't. I was going to mention it later, but we didn't crush extra. We didn't go quite how I wanted it. And then last update would be the Stone Arch Bridge. We expect our funding letter any day now. I actually thought we would have had So, then we'll move forward with that.
Going back to the gravel crossing, it met your specifications at least.
There was some failing gradations, which isn't necessarily uncommon. It's not like it was far enough out to where we had to shut it down, but there's monetary corrections for like when it doesn't meet, but if it was too bad, we would have just stopped it, like if it's something we couldn't use, but in this case, there was some of them that weren't as good as we wanted, but again, that's not uncommon to have, mainly in the beginning. I don't know if we've ever had one that's where all of them have passed, but so you mainly use that tool in the beginning to see what needs to be adjusted and make those corrections and to get dialed back in.
Does the raw product going into the crusher have an effect on that? Is it just how the crusher set up the streets and so forth?
Yep, as your in-place material changes, that'll affect the gradation, how much rock comes off the top or whatnot. But I'm not a pro with how to set one of those machines up, so I don't know if I should answer that. But yes, it'll matter. Generally speaking, we have an excellent pit. We keep hearing that we have a really nice pit. So yeah, happy to do that. Next item. Are we able to play that video?
Yep.
Perfect. I believe back when we got the FWD testing approved, I think Doug, you had asked to see a video of it in action. So don't get too excited. But So if you look at those pictures I attached, that's the machine. They pull it with a Tahoe. So it's an SUV. Then they drive and stop every 10th of a mile on the road. And that plate sets down and then it drops away. It knows how high it's dropping the weight from, it knows how heavy it is. And then there's little like seismic sensors. Okay. You can see the mouse, like, so there's one, there's another, there's another. So it sends out these seismic waves or something, and somehow it measures that. I suppose it's the same as earthquake technology, but
so basically it's checking for the compaction soil underneath.
yeah, something to do with that. We have to send into them like how much bituminous is there, how much gravel is there. So I suppose it can calculate that way what it should be getting for readings in comparison to what it is getting for readings. So that's how it checks. Not as exciting as I thought it would be.
It must be like an electric solenoid or an electromagnet that pulls that up and drops the way it works.
Yeah, you can see it drop here. So
And then the acronym, the FWD stands for
falling weight deflectometer. Okay. So, is there any other questions on that process, or did that?
how many miles of road are we doing this year? Roughly. We always.
You got me. You got me. I don't remember.
But is your intent that eventually to check all of our
Yeah,
roads?
we have it budgeted to do every segment every 20 years, because that's out in overlay cycle. So we hit them all. In theory, we'll hit them all right before like an overlay, so we maybe adjust the thickness. So some years are a little over the budget, some are a little under, but we know what it costs per mile, we know how many miles we have, so we took that total cost and divided by 20. That's what we budget every year.
So it's kind of trying to measure the integrity of the surface or of the subgrade, or both.
We mainly use it to determine an overlay thickness on a road. We have found bad spots, so we've done like, say, in a 4 mile stretch, maybe this mile needs 2 inches instead of 1.5 inches to kind of beef it up a little bit, 'cause for whatever reason that mile might be deep. So instead of just like throwing, say, maybe a 2 inch overlay at the whole thing, we can kind of dial it back in certain spots, so save a little money that way and stretch things out a little farther.
Anybody else, questions for Rick?
Right. Next item for me. So at my last ATP meeting, they did an amendment and they changed the scope of the Highway 75 project from a mill and overlay to white topping, which is where they mill off the bituminous and they're gonna put concrete on it.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I'd like to see it on Highway 23.
Yeah.
So, I was shocked to see it. That's the first I had ever heard of it. So I'd asked some questions. Like, well, how certain are you on this? And the answer I got was that, so the ATP Area Transportation Partnership approved it and, the MnDOT commissioner. Or excuse me, MnDOT expects the Commissioner of Transportation to approve it later this fall, so they don't think that there's any. They don't expect any hurdles left, or, they think it's a done deal, so. Construction is currently scheduled for 2026, but that is subject to change. As always. The odd part, which is maybe a good thing. They're gonna go from County Road 9 up to our County Road 57, which is pretty much just the rural segment. They said the urban one will be done at a later date, so. I'm a little optimistic that maybe that means they plan on some turn lanes or something in there for all the commercial traffic, so this might turn out to be fantastic.
Where is that point? In relation to the businesses that are out there?
So they called it our County Road 57, which is a north-south road, which you generally think parallel 75, and 75 kind of crosses it north of our County Road 4. Where Evans is from. Evans is from. Yeah.
So that's about a mile south of industrial.
Yeah, I'd say judging by this map, looks like a mile and a half somewhere in there, but.
A little bit north of the cutoff to
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So all the businesses will not be affected.
Well,
Yeah, it's south of there, so I would,
That's what I mean.
yeah,
Like the Trust Pros and all those, they aren't gonna be affected at all by this counter.
no.
Doesn't-
Just after you buy.
excuse me, right, there'll probably be a lot of traffic. But there could be a lot of traffic going through the business area hauling to this project.
Congestion. yes.
Yeah, congestion, there you go. I don't know. I didn't get any details. I don't know if they have any details yet. I think it just kind of sounds like they're committing to
Yeah,
this.
this is when they're gonna do all of 75 even south there.
I'm not sure on that south segment because that's in a different district, so I don't hear much about it.
They didn't say that. No, I just wondered why, from 9 to 57, why.
Maybe it is tied to that. I don't know.
That's where their district stops. No, I know, but I wonder what they were doing. Because it's worse south.
Right, it'd be nice if they continued that.
So maybe this is a continuation of the south project. It could be, I guess I didn't ask.
No, that's.
I just saw what that affected us and I thought you'd like to hear that. So, sure. Pass it along.
I find it encouraging, perhaps they did listen to us a little bit when they came and did their report.
Squeaking does help.
Do you know any details as far as what the thickness of the concrete road is?
No, I don't think they said either. I'm not entirely sure that they know either. They might have just said, yeah, we're gonna do that.
And how much they bill, we don't know at this point either, too.
Yeah.
Okay, at least you're gonna do something.
I think there's concrete underneath that road. It was originally concrete and then
I was thinking that, but I'm not sure.
so this might be such a thing, they just mill as close as they can to the old concrete and use that existing bituminous to, for level surface, you know. But I'm not sure, it's just speculation on my part. Cause you know, the higher you go up the road, then the more it pulls the shoulders in, because the in slope, so I think they want to keep it low.
And that's in 26.
Yep. Yep, it's not even updated yet on their chip plan you can find on their website. This was, you know, just an ATP meeting handout that I followed up on with our district state lead engineer. Any other questions in regard to that? I don't know anymore, but I can certainly find it.
We'll find out.
Okay, is it all right to get people's hopes up at least?
Looks like it to me. They got my hopes up and I know how they work, so that means anything to them.
Thanks.
Yep. Next item I had, I was called or contacted by a resident who requested that we get an ordinance or something for not allowing round bales to be stored within 100 feet of the road. I'm going to talk about this with the road bridge committee later this morning. I did talk with Kyle from zoning, but before we go and try to reinvent the wheel here, has this come up before that I need to remember?
Not that I recall, doesn't do us.
Complaints maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the sheriff's department ever been involved in because of line of sight. You know.
It's always been, if they're not in the right of way.
and that's where we're at. The
It's safe, you know.
situation driving this is like, yeah, they probably shouldn't be there, but they're on the right of way.
That's what it's.
Okay, I'll talk with the committee some more later this morning, but you know, if this had been brought up before, I wasn't gonna reinvent the wheel.
Just thinking out loud as to judgment, again, like I said, if it's on the right of way. Sometimes, if the homeowner gets encouragement from his insurance company, that sometimes carries a lot more weight than it does with regulations. If this insurance carrier says you've got a nuisance, you've got a liability here, just throw that out as a possible approach.
A lot of these are just out in the middle of nowhere. But they're 33 feet. They're at the right of way line, which the roads are pretty narrow.
Yeah, this one in particular is near the house.
Yeah,
But I
but
would-
they're not narrow necessarily.
Oh, but for the insurance, I mean.
In this case, yeah.
I mean, when they put bales along the.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, you're right.
They're not always at the home.
So it'd be tough to make a one size fits all rule because
Yeah,
we'll go over that.
but if the property owner's insurance company says you've got some exposure here, you got some liability, you created a site hazard. That might be more incentive for somebody to address it than us trying to come up with some kind of regulation to this private property.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all things that committee and I will talk about later, I guess, but like I said, if there was some history of this before, I probably default to that first, but. No, thanks for your input. Maintenance updates. We've been doing some graveling, started spraying, doing equipment repairs as time and personnel allows. Had some culvert repairs and replacements in the last month, and we have started mowing. Also, let's follow up to last month, that chemical purchase we did, shipping was included in that price, or that was asked, so.
Yeah, I asked that if they could just write it on there,
Yep,
because one of them said it was, one of them said it didn't say.
Sure.
So that was my question.
sure, no, I should have caught that too, so. But yeah, that was included, so those bids were the apples to apples, so to speak, so, yeah. Then our sprayer tank lid, I guess, is vented, that was asked too. There was a plug in it or something, we might have to flip it around, I don't remember what the one we had. Was vended, yes, I didn't realize that.
Really, my question is, when you change it over. You know, now you have to go on, to open the lids, to get water in. That was like, the bit you're gonna change the plumbing.
Yep.
You know, the venting was. That's just obvious, but. My question was more that, you know, about the walkway, so you're not going up there.
Yeah, I don't know if we need that anymore, because it's bottom fill now.
That's a bit, yeah, and then that's all taken care of. So you don't really have to go on the tank.
No.
So,
No, we can take the top stuff off, maybe that'll be a good winter project, but
no problem. So,
yeah, so I think we're covered there. And then the last maintenance item I had was the additional gravel, which I alluded to, talked about earlier, we didn't crush it extra. So I just want to shut it down. Or, okay.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, question though. Overall, thing you going well. I know you're still short.
Yeah, it would be nice to be fully staffed, but
just beginning this. Right,
we're looking for a maintenance worker too, with Dave Clemens retirement.
that's right.
Yeah, and then gonna be short on an accountant, so.
Is there something?
Mr. Chairman.
That's for the ditch committee.
Oh, ditch committee?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, for that ditch committee meeting on whatever day that.
So I got a pretty picture of it.
Don't worry about that then.
That's why I assume that's.
No,
That's
sorry, that's.
Oh, that
for-
was in the packet of stuff for your meeting. I just printed it all out, sorry.
You can ignore that. No, you can ignore that. That's just a AutoCAD culvert sketch for a culvert replacement we have coming up. And I need the
Yep.
ditch committee is.
Yeah.
Opinion. I probably would like to see, so that's all. You can ignore that.
Okay.
Fuel bids, so have you received any fuel yet, or? We're taking delivery there.
I'm not sure. I don't really,
Stay on top of that.
I don't have much to do with that, no, and when it gets low.
Yeah, whatever they rate.
And the alarm goes off.
Yeah, whenever the alarm goes off, he just calls them up and says, hey, this is what we need, and we do it, so. Then I see the bills, huge bills coming across. So that's usually when I know what happens, so.
Anybody, anything else for you? Well, thank you.
All right, thank you.
You need to have a good summer.
Yeah.
Next on the agenda, is for 9:30, we're a little bit early. When you do is wait the bill.
How about personnel? Let's do personnel, sure.
Captain's got-
That won't take long either.
Well, this should only take a couple minutes as well. But good morning, everyone. I passed out what my updates are for this morning. And it does take a couple action items here. So the first announcement is Leslie Lee, our highway accountant, has submitted her resignation effective August 4th. And I would need board approval to accept that.
Very good. Appropriately so. With the candidates. Moved by Doug, second by Chris to accept the resignation of Leslie. Any further discussion, questions? Other than obviously, make sure that you realize we appreciate what she's.
Yep, and she is retiring, Doug pointed out, she doesn't seem old enough. He is eligible for her pension, he has her little 90, so.
Just say so, all in favor. Any further discussion or questions?
Oh, going
For us.
ask her, I forgot to look it up.
30. I don't think Dave.
It's about the same,
I think almost.
I think she was hired in 88 or 89, so. yeah.
Nick knows.
I think she started within a couple weeks of the appointment, actually.
Yeah.
And Nick and Jared and I are meeting to discuss transition planning this afternoon, so.
More to come. So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That's the same.
There you go. Some hiring updates. We do have an accepted offer from Rebecca Dolly, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I need to confirm that with her, but she is starting as a full-time deputy reporter on August 1st. So we completed those interviews last week and we already have her background check back. So she is good to start as of that date. She's starting on step B, which the department has authorization to offer, so I don't need a board approval for her salary. So,
She apparently has got some prior experience of some kind.
yes, she has experience as a mortgage maker, so. And then we also have a full-time deputy sheriff starting the first part of August. He has completed part of his background. He did his physical yesterday and psych eval today. I cannot release his name yet because he's still going through the background process. We still have their full-blown packet to go through for their history, their background check that they do in the sheriff's office. But that should be moving along and should hopefully start the first part of August if everything's out okay. And then we're still recruiting for the mechanic and highway maintenance worker. So I'll be discussing that with them too. So any questions or comments on any of that? Okay, thank you.
Why don't we wait for? Well, I guess we can talk a little bit about this. Like I said, we got a proposal. Remember, this is through Southwest 18 now Health Consortium in the Miami Valley is our fiscal host. They remember here that they had proposed the contract that Bill had certain saying that that's and we voiced that concern up there, and they've come back and they changed the wording of the contract. That was mentioned. We haven't had a chance to get through that, so we'll defer this until later. Okay, very good. And Wayne.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes. It's got some informational, part of the fairgrounds, sewer lines and stuff out there. I haven't got the final bill for that yet. It's supposed to be like 13,000 some odd dollars, you know, for those food stands. That's an awful lot for them to kick in.
Yeah. Could you give everybody some background on? I know
What it was those sewer lines were put in. I know the Lutheran stand has been there for 8 years. So it was clay tile and completely wet. And then it was dumping into the storm sewer and not the city sewer,
the sanitary sewer.
not sanitary.
And this was all prompted because of the rebuild of the Lutheran food stand.
Yes.
Yes. So as they had to replace that sewer line, they found out that it didn't go where they thought it would.
Yeah, and it didn't go down anyway.
It was plugged anyway.
They were plugged, so the sinks and stuff weren't working out there. So yeah, it wasn't good.
Been that way for years and years and years.
Yes. Yes, it has.
So then now all three food stands in are going to be sharing in part of the cost of this as well too. All three
Yes.
are affected by this rate.
Yep.
And the storm sewer itself that was dumping into was on the boulevard where the sanitary sewer is in the street.
City, the city,
Trying to dig
center
in
of
the
the
street.
And the city is standing by some of that. They were going to stand by the concrete for put the road back in good. So they were standing by some of it too.
Yeah. And it looks like you said the work's pretty well done. It looks like that.
It is.
Last week, so.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, they got to love with all the stuff. I just hope it's money for the fair.
But very good. Although it usually seems a fair
But-
time. to storm.
But we'll have extra wood chips we'll put in that area too, because it's not gonna, there's nothing gonna grow there. No. Okay, and then the other project is the extension and soil water really kind of update on that. The concrete crew were waiting for the gas line to be moved, and I've been calling this guy every day and sending emails, and they're not getting back to us as to when they're gonna do it with that gas line.
What's the correlation between moving the gas line and doing the concrete work? Is the
The
concrete-
garage. The
Yeah.
garage.
But you want to. But the concrete work that we're waiting on to get in the building is for the air conditioning fans, right?
Yeah.
But you want to do it all at one time, is why.
Well, that's what he wants to do, but I mean, if we have to bring him in to get stuff done too.
Yeah,
Yep, and then we're gonna switch like we dump the gravel doing the tile because. They're not getting it done. Wolver's not getting it done, I should say. The painting and staining is supposed to be all the way done. Kitchen windows in, front doors are in. The handicap openers are working. So,
now were they able to reuse? the
Yes.
existing openers?
yes, they had to be some.
Yeah, I know there's a question about warranty because it's a different brand, of course, before, but they were still usable and they're working, but.
Yep. So now we should be able to get rusted and then we start doing carpet. Electrical, they were gonna try to get in there this week, but I don't think they're going to, but we try to finish up all the outlets and finish the electrical in there. Then update the kitchen units.
Because the main items that need to be done before you can actually occupy the building is obviously, now the painting's done, of course, the carpet. But we need to get the air conditioning done before we can, for the heating and air conditioning system. Before we do that. Yeah, any idea about the completion date or move-in date? I wouldn't call it completion date, but a move-in date.
Also, we can't get in there till the IT is done too.
Right.
I didn't realize there's IT stuff left.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
everything needs to be terminated
It's just.
and that hasn't been done yet. Everything
All run.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit, like I said, there's quite a bit of electrical to get. On that. Bathrooms, I don't know where, I haven't talked to Jamie for a while, but they gotta up, put all that stuff in there to get sinks, new toilets.
Keys for the building, the new door, I assume, got a new key, new lock. How about that, south door then, is that,
That's still,
so that's key the same as what the other front door?
that's the one you have to use to go in.
And the west door, does that got an outside key on it?
No, it's blank. It's blank. That one you go up, you can't come in. If it shuts that down.
And we're gonna pour a little concrete pad by that door big enough for a little 8x8 or 10x10 pads.
Yeah, we can.
Was that the plan?
We were thinking about going all the way to the bell, the boys there, yes.
Now, as far as the downspouts, then, where we need to dig back into the drainage tile. And we really would make sense to actually get the gutters out of the downspouts, so we know where the stuff goes up to, because we don't know exactly where he's gonna put his dumps at.
Well, he's gonna have to put them where we put the tile in.
But would it make more sense to find out where he wants to put the dumps before?
But otherwise, we can't because of stuff in the way. It'd be harder to get to the outside parts. It'd be a lot easier. We went right straight down the both corners on the front side and on the both ends.
And if you had any success getting hold of that gutter guy?
Griebel's taking care of it for us. It was originally part of his plan, but originally we weren't planning to reshingle the roof, so we were gonna leave the gutters and downspouts.
Yeah.
But since we reshingled the roof, everything had to come off. So now we need to, and it was part of his bid, and he did give us a deduct on it. It was about $2,400. So I contacted him and said, go ahead and take care of this and get your contractor who you use for your seamless gutters and downspouts and get that done. So there was miscommunication on how that was supposed to go back when we were in the early stages of this project, because we thought the roof was in better shape and it was not. So,
Yeah, hopefully we can get the gutter guy in there. Have Mark get the gutter.
yep,
guy.
he's already said he'd take care of that.
Clock's ticking.
Well, we're all right. The city is not evicting the county. We're paying our rent month by month now. They're fine with that. Deb reached out to me, so we're paying extension and SWC by the months, and they said that's fine. So they aren't waiting on anybody to, not kicking us out because somebody's ready to move in. They don't have any tenants at this time. They told me that. Other thing, just to let you know, is that the total project we estimated to be when we approved it was about 217,000. Well, I can tell you we're over that. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody because, I mean, we had a basically almost $35,000 roofing job that we weren't anticipating as well. And given what we've found in the building, there've been some other costs and things like that. We weren't planning on recarpeting the whole building, but the carpeting is not good. So that's all got to come out. So that's why we're doing that too. I do have approximately $91,000 left in ARPA money. I would request that we utilize that ARP money to finish out this project as best we can on it. So trying to keep it as out of our levy as much as we possibly can. So, but we bid this and we've seen prices go up and prices change and
the scope of the job changed.
the scope changed. Yes, it did. I mean, we're gonna have,
ARP money, I think that was kind of, we don't really need to take specific action on that, because that was kind of understanding the first place we designate that. Now, also the good news that Digital also mentioned that water and soil has got resources.
yes, they're paying towards this too. You saw a large bill in there that went to Agreeable and we split that bill 50-50. So, and as far as the soil and water bill, I took their portion of it out of building and plant, because I don't want to commingle it with our ARP money for the project. So I took it out of building and plant to pay Agreeable, and soil and water will pay the county back and we'll reimburse it back to building and plant. Just keeps it cleaner that way.
Easier to track.
Yes, very much. So we'll still be working for it. And Kyle is willing to help pay, and soil and water, he's just has to run it by his board, but they're willing to continue to help pay for costs on this
I think
building.
his board kind of vocalized that real early in the project.
Yeah.
They have stuff up there.
Yes.
A lot of changes for directly for their desires. So.
And you know, all of Agreeable's work is done on the inside. The offices are ready to go. I mean, everything's painted. So now we can get to work on the finishes now. But it just takes time and getting people scheduled
Overall.
overall.
I'm really pleased with the end product. It's wonderful. I really like it. I'm getting impatient.
Yep.
And a name that we've come up with for the building, we don't have to take any action on this right now, is the Pipestone County Southwest Government Center.
Kind of rolls off the tongue. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's kind of roll,
I
doesn't
like
it?
But it is, it's very accurate in its description. For us, and it'd be easy for people to relate to that.
And Extension has their maroon wall painted
Yes.
with, with the University of Minnesota color on it.
They got to put a gopher on this.
I don't know what they're gonna
They're
do
up
there.
at University of Minnesota
Yeah.
on that wall too.
We'll keep the board informed as I've got this list now and just keep looking at getting things checked off. So I'll just keep you up to date on that as we move forward in meetings.
They do agreement for 4-H.
What's that?
They do agreement for 4-H.
Yeah, no.
They could do an emblem on it. Yeah.
Yep, very good.
Yep.
Appreciate everybody's hard work on this. It's been quite a project. So. Anybody else? Any questions?
Yes, I just, appliances, fridge and rain, they're not ordered yet. Can you give the editor a chance at that?
I did.
Okay. That's all I asked. Hopefully give a chance.
Too really go in. Yep.
And nothing new about that. You've done that in the past. You've gone down to the other.
Yes.
And like the shades and blinds too, and all that.
Yep.
They do that too. Yeah.
Yep.
Just gotta remember Edgar's part of the.
You better believe it. Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're gonna have some leftover furniture by the time it's all said and done. We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff there. Right. Because then maybe work with Pete Swanson Hospital as well too. I don't know if it's time for another surplus sale or surplus sale to. Financially, I don't know if it's worth having, but legally we almost have to, because we have to give everybody an honest, fair opportunity. So I think we almost, it's the fairest way of doing it.
Yep.
What's Mint that has been working? Depends on who's-
I haven't used it much. I think Nick has. I haven't used it for anything really. You got rid of your Bobcat, skid steer.
That's all really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, take pictures of it, sell it that way, and
When I look at the website, a lot of times they do have office furniture.
do.
and stuff.
Yeah, we can put all that stuff on there. Over on that.
Do you ever follow it to see what kind of price it brings?
Oh,
And then it doesn't bring.
sometimes used plow trucks and everything.
Oh, it's very short.
Oh, not much.
Yeah,
Not
no,
much,
no,
You know,
pretty much.
Yeah, it's
Give
not-
away
yeah,
prices.
Some
Yeah.
equipment, yeah, some equipment sometimes brings decent money.
Right.
Some more gas, but yeah, people.
Exactly.
And then,
And trailer to haul it all.
update. I've got a 4-H club coming in tonight to paint on the sheep barn and the big barn. And then the hog gates are going in. You know,
I see there's on the south side, they've got a cattle chute with the banner on it.
yeah, that's that beef tour coming through Tuesday next week.
So that's gonna be located here.
Yeah, 700 people.
And it's a national beef producers. Is that
Yes, it's Pipestone and Murray counties. Yep, they're figuring on 700.
That's nice work. Great to see that facility used.
Yeah, fairgrounds getting used. That's what we want.
Anything else for us, Wayne? Anybody else any questions? Thank you so
Okay,
much.
yep.
Again, we're a little bit ahead of schedule. I see Bill still having a holder. Are you ready for your IT request?
Good morning.
Morning.
Bill?
Morning. So I've got 2 items. First one is to replace the cameras and microphones in the interview rooms in the sheriff's office. We're still using the old ones in there, and the sound is really horrible. So the plan is to upgrade them. This was planned last year. I got them on the budget this year to do this. Alpha Wireless had the best bid. Midwest is a little bit higher. I would recommend going with Alpha for these 3 cameras.
Was Alpha? How did it compare price wise? Because
Pardon?
how did Alpha compare price wise to the other bids? Was it a little bit
Yes,
It
it's a
was.
little bit,
okay,
5,000.
Mr. Chairman, it's right on your front page, Les,
on the front page?
on your right hand.
Dollar amount. Oh, I
Yeah.
see. I thought the Midwest, I thought that was a separate project. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with a little bit before.
Thank you, Chris.
I'll support that.
Thank you, Allison. Move the second, go with Alpha Wireless. They're done. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All in favor, aye. Just a thought of that as well, too. It's still a concrete block room. It still might have some echoes. If you thought about putting a cool going over the wall. Down in the echoing.
I haven't.
And maybe it's not necessary.
It seems like it's a microphone issue. They're old microphones. These came with like 2 systems ago, you know. You just kind of leverage what's there, but it's time to move on.
Chances are they're taking the news over the years too. So.
Yeah, that's one of the other things is you don't want a lot of stuff hanging on the wall.
I was thinking the same thing. If we would do acoustical things, there might be reasons the sheriff's department doesn't want anything on walls too. So
The second item I have. So this came up. With the new CJIS security policy that we got in January, or we actually got it in March. And going through the items on there, we are now in compliance with the way that we have visitors or even county employees that are not vetted properly. Like maintenance is and IT is, but people from other departments or any other kind of visitors. We're not. It used to be okay that the cameras were enough, but right now they want card access. They want to know who it was and when they were there. So there's a couple ways to do it. You could escort everybody. Instead of card access, you could just escort everybody and then log them on paper, who it was, why they were there, and what time it was. It's kind of burdensome for
like Bridget and I might go in the radio room 15 times in one day. And each time I mean, it's on camera, you see who it is, but that's not, doesn't fit the requirements. So along with that, the radio room is just one location, but the sheriff's office itself is the other location.
How about the rest of the building, the public area of the building?
So the public areas of the building are fine to make compliance with this.
It's just where you restrict access.
The system would be expandable at some point, but it is expensive to retrofit doors. We looked at a couple of different ways to do it. But both of these, the one from 3D and the one from Midwest, have the ability to expand to, if there are other doors we want to do in the future, we could do that. So the courthouse is one area where we have this I wouldn't necessarily say issue, but out of compliance situation. Another place is at EMS, where we've got volunteers and we've got codes. Sometimes volunteers don't last very long. Sometimes people do it for a short while and they find they don't like it. And sometimes there's some trust issues with the people that they have as a volunteer there. So we want to. They need, the people that are volunteers need to be able to have something right now, a code that they can remember, and it has to be memorable for them because they're there, they've got to get in the building, get the truck out, get ready to go. Come from the house over to the other building. Changing that code, sharing that with all the volunteers each time. You know, sometimes they leave that code a little long, and there have been a couple problems in the past with trust. So to solve that and have a record and a log that says who it was that went through that door is gonna help them a lot. Probably more than I was taken aback a little bit of the pricing of what these cost. We looked at this actually a couple of years ago for EMS, and it was about 5,000 less than what it is right now. So I guess I don't know what you do, but I'm seeing that across everything. Every piece of electronic equipment.
Are you thinking about that in a specific fob, or you think about using our ID cards as the badge?
So I'm gonna kind of let the departments pick how they want to do that. Probably won't be the ID badges, but it could be. It'd be special ones. Different. We just have to print them on different ones. I go back and forth on, do I want someone that finds a lost one to know what building it opens? You know, so if it's just blank, that may be better. We could do key fobs too, but right. And they're expensive, you know, they do last quite a long time, but probably do cards.
With the cards, you have the capability, if there was an ID badge lost, of course, it'd be the responsibility of the individual to report it immediately to you.
Right, we'd have to know right away.
Yeah, then you don't deactivate them.
Right.
So Jared, my experience at my work, we actually contract with 3D Security. I'm very familiar with the software, and even at my job, I have a map, a facility-wide map, and it shows every door that's being accessed. And every time the picture shows up, which door, it highlights it up on the map, so I can see right who's entering where, why.
So there's never a question.
Right. So I mean, it's very sophisticated software, and it's very when it comes to protecting areas and stuff, it's very, very.
And of course, the record.
Record, yeah.
The record. Yeah.
Is that a badge like you're wearing, Chris? or is it-
Yeah, actually, here's one of the brackets from my job. I keep up for this year, but this is the county one, but it's the same difference. So I just wave it over the whatever door. And
Do you have experience with the fobs as well too? Would you have recommendation one or the other? You find the card works well.
card works seems better. Everybody usually, it's like a lanyard, looks like a retractable one or something.
At the hospital, when we took the tour, some of it was cards, and then Brad had some fobs for certain areas. So
to be kind of. But anyway, but this is pretty specific.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then, right now we have card access at public services for the employee entrances and exits, not all of those, just for a couple. And included in this bid is bringing that into this system. And they were gonna do that for cost. It's like an additional. Which makes sense to just maintain one system.
At the EMS center. Are there capabilities built into the system, you know, to override it? I would hate to have an emergency call and have one of our EMS personnel forget their card, be standing at the door and not be able to get in, or is it gonna be a case of the other people coming there as well? So what,
So we've kind of talked about that a little bit. So this system, you can use a phone. And you can lock all the doors, or multiple doors, or a door, or whatever with a phone app. That's one workaround for that. Another one would still have the key available. So the key would still open the door, which I think is probably a good idea. If the power's out for a long time.
Mhm.
And another way is to leave the code handle on the door. And then just have a code that isn't shared, but if it needed to be, it would be available. So those are a couple of the options, and we'll work that out with Casey upstairs. How
many total doors are involved in this?
and a lot. So it says in here, but
Like the back door here, is that
the back door to the sheriff's office, the front door to the sheriff's office, and then both of the radio doors. Right, and that's the plan in this building. At
four in this building?
or in this one. At EMS, we've got a side door, front door, a garage door, a back garage door, and a door to the house. That all be seamless. Between, oh, and then the storage room where we keep the pets.
And that lists the mechanical IT room here too.
Is that on there too?
7.
Yeah, it could,
Yeah, there's 7 it
There's
shows here.
and then there's 2 doors at public services. But Southwest has expressed, and they would pay for it. The 2 doors on either side of the front desk, they'd like to have that card access for employees instead of being buzzed in or memorizing the code, because they have the same issue where they have some turnover and that code changes.
which doors are these?
The 2 doors on either side of the front desk,
Front desk, which building?
public services.
Okay.
And their IT closet. So those 3 doors they would like to add. And Chris said she's. Sounds probably that happen.
And how about our new building projects?
So that's not in here. 3D didn't get back to me with a quote for that building, but that building is or potentially set up for card access as well. I would estimate it's gonna be closer to because you've got 2, 3, 4, and probably you do the garage, that would be another, it only makes sense for what's going. Internally in that building, I don't think there's any locks on them.
Well, and that's kind of what I was wondering is what, it's very different in EMS and here with our security in this building. Would there be a need for that level of oversight for that building or not?
Probably not. Probably not, but it's key control too.
Maybe someday, as we see
Yeah.
these regulations and rules changes, smart safety goes, might be.
The lockdown feature is really one of another key piece to this, and why we would want to do all the courthouse where we could lock everything down, or if there's a fire or whatever, open all the doors. That's maybe something we'll end up having to visit later on. But we've this is all gonna be, it's expandable, so we can scale it to fit all all the other doors we've ever had. I don't want to come after them all at once.
Is there money in the budget for this?
So we've gone back and forth and we plan to take this out of building plant. That's kind of where this fits and Wayne was okay with that. Yeah, like I said, this was not planned. This just kind of came up and what triggered it was those changes. And those rules from the CJIS rules. EMS, this has been talked about. I mean, the plan was probably to put this in the budget, but if we're mobilizing them to come out and do this, let's do it now.
And Chris, I prefer you as well too. You said which one of the two companies, 3D or Midwest? You wanted to-
Well, both, but preview was the main one that with my work that we dealt with recently.
You've had a real good luck with 3D.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see they are substantially lower than Midwest.
Then we can expand upon it too. Another thing about this, it shows access, but it also shows where access is denied. People red block shows up at that person's face, somebody tried going on here, like, that wouldn't get it. So also shows people that are trying to be more curious what they should be doing.
Right.
And Mr. Chairman, the 3D Security is also doing fire alarm system at the Southwest Government Center, and they also did the replacement of the system here last year as well. So we've had a good working relationship with them, and their pricing seems to be very, very competitive.
Big time difference.
That would be my recommendation.
Make that motion.
Thank you. Dallas, support. Thank you. Discussion. And again, funding was going to come from,
Building plant.
okay, and budget, see if we can have less.
Yes, we can.
Any questions, or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any idea of availability and like things like that?
It's gonna be like everything we're going to.
Good ways.
One of the whole price.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe the only thing we got left is to.
Nope, Chairman, that's it.
Anybody want to volunteer to start first? Reports?
On 15th, met with the new Avera CEO, Dr. Ron Place at the hospital on 22nd. We had an AMC board reception with the AMC Premier Business Partners since we could not see them during the virtual legislative conference. The following day, on the 23rd AMC board meeting, Britta Torkelson and I presented as an AMC affiliate organization for MRC to the AMC board. And of course, I reinforced the fact that we were very impressed with Capitol Hill Associates' work for MRC this year. And more so when I realized that Britta was 8 months pregnant at the time she came to this meeting. We didn't realize she was pregnant. So yeah, she did a fantastic job for us, and enough that apparently 8 counties have reached out to MRC to have presentations for membership this summer. So they're going around to the various counties for that. On the 26th, AMC Research Committee met with the interns to discuss their various projects, which are just getting started, and I'll have more details on those as they move along. On the 27th, we had our union negotiations with the LPNs at the hospital, and a tentative agreement was reached. On the 28th, Highway 23 Executive Committee met to get a better handle on some ongoing expenses by consolidating some duties to our coordinator rather than paying outside firms to do some stuff. On the 29th, we had the hospital board meeting. On the 6th, Area 2 and RCRCA met. Area 2 was approved for 2 projects through direct state grants for flood storage throughout the Minnesota River watershed. And yesterday, we had that planned ops meeting at the hospital. That's all I have.
You ready, Chris?
Yep. On the 6th, had union negotiations here. On the 8th, ANC district meeting in Laverne. On the 26th, I had a CPT executive committee morning. Early afternoon, I had law enforcement liaison. Late afternoon, I had executive committee. Or extension committee, excuse me. Nothing really to report on any of those three. For PCMC at 3, on the 5th, I had the quality board. The 20th, I had nurse union negotiations. And then we have the regular work meeting for the possible.
Thank you, Chris.
June 1st, Prime South at Alex, that was strategic planning session. On 5th, BCF policy, performance committee meeting. Another one on the 5th, I did another fast track certification training for MH, or the hospital association. On the 8th, district 8 meeting at the Burn. 13th, regular board meeting. 14th, Buffalo Ridge Drug Task Force. And actually, printed out these for you. They had kind of a report for 2022. They had 170 cases. And here's kind of a breakdown of the cases. I won't go through them. I just for your information, see what they all do for the whole year. 19th, private industry council, just you probably heard about the Windman plant closure. There are 421 employees laid off, 200, approximately 200 went to Wisconsin to a plant. So that's taking a lot of effort on the private industry council's part to place or try to place these people. And they said over 400 individuals had H-2B visas, so that threw in a ringer trying to get them employed before that kicked in. 21st, Southwest Health and Human Services. 26th, extension meeting. 7th, regular board meeting. 28th, radio board, communication board, Marshall. 29th was regular board meeting. That's all good.
Thank you, Doug. Yeah.
Yes, June 6th, I attended the Consumer Energy annual meeting in Laverne, just as a visitor. 8th was the AMC in Laverne. 12th, the Board of Equalization here. 13th, regular meeting. 15th, meet and greet with Dr. Ron Place, the new CEO of the mayor. 21st, Long Creek meeting. We decided to invest in Magic Fund with our extra money, so we do a better interest rate than the bank. We did authorize a 9.5% fees for all our employees. We haven't had a raise for a couple of years. In a related note, Charlie Senau was from his son passed away. County attorney in Wood.
Was that just very recent?
Motorcycle accident.
That was,
Oh.
1st of July or 4th of July or something. He was a longtime member of the concrete.
That's too bad.
27th was regular meeting, 29th hospital board meeting. 2% increase from Blue Cross Blue Shield, but their premiums went up 8%, 3%. So something's not fair. And I had something from yesterday that I need your thoughts on the Southwest opioid settlement. We met yesterday and talked about making bylaws, agenda and funding application. Turns out that Lincoln County doesn't want to send their money in. They got $7,800. That's last year's money that we put in. So what do? Leave them out? Dan, you maybe know more about this. They talked about this in health services. You're more clear with that.
And Nick, I couldn't really understand what the thought process was behind it. I think it was trying to
Why
why it was. Why
yesterday they said that they have some needs in their county right now, that they have better use for that.
Right. Yeah. And how that's gonna affect the group as a unit, so.
Yeah, they had didn't they have she was some gal that insisted on running it herself in Lincoln County, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure who she was.
And with all of the reporting requirements to track that money and so forth, we don't know if they truly understand the complexity of what she's getting herself into. That was part of the rationale for us wanting us to streamline that. So, you know, our opinions are that they mistake, but I don't know, like I said, we kick them out of the group, I don't know. if we Good or should.
They didn't want that yesterday, but well, you know, we're for sure on this, you know. I just wanted to know some of your opinions on it. Just because
So,
Maybe they'll come around too. You never know once they try to figure it out. I mean,
Yeah.
services.
huh?
Yeah. So related to this, speaking of health human services, of course, with the Rock and Murray County, not in our Prime West, and now we also have got this community investment grant money that we're trying to pull together. So it's another case where those two counties are going to see benefit without having any skin in the game. So at what point can we rise up against that as well too?
I'm on the subcommittee that's supposed to take care of this. So if you have any other thoughts on that, let me know. And then that's my report.
And Dallas, while you're talking about the opioid group, do I understand that they're looking for citizens to participate on that advisory group as well too?
Yes.
Okay, would it be appropriate, there's an individual's approach me that would like to be involved in that, I'd like to bring her name forward. Do we need to take formal action on that, or how does that work, the idea?
I've not heard. I can reach out and see what Ann says about how they want to do that if they want.
Sure.
They might have enough for a week, but they might not. I didn't say that.
It's Sherry Hager said, approached me, I think it should be.
Each county.
They want somebody from each county. Is what I understood from Health Human Services, so. Could you bring her name forward for us, Steve or Dallas, or would you like me to do that?
What was her name again?
Sherry Hager's. She lost her son here a couple months ago.
Spell her last name for me. N-E-G.
Yeah.
Anger. Anger.
I've heard it pronounced both ways.
Okay, Anger. All right, gotcha. I've heard it
Both ways.
pronounced that way. Sherry Anger. Okay. S-H-E-R-I.
And I guess I'd like to get back to her and tell her that we're going to present her name, or should I wait on that?
Just wait, I'll just get a hold of Ann and see where we're at with it. Maybe they already have their representatives too. I don't know. Did they say anything about it, Dallas, at the meeting? I wasn't able to go yesterday.
Yeah, they did not say they had a full slate, but they were talking about. She was talking more about the same. That time, right?
Oh.
Yeah. And did you mention that we had a person interested?
No.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dallas. My report for the month was Southwest Health and Southwest Mental Health Consortium. We already talked about that with the Wine Valley, harmless. So we'll more to come on that. Then on the 12th, we had our board organization meeting here, of course. Also had our planning facilities at the hospital on the 12th. On the 14th, we got our law enforcement liaison meeting with Keith. There is nothing stood out from that other. Dan wasn't there at the meeting, so we, I don't think we should have got a quorum or not. Mentioned the 15th, and we about that with Dr. Place. On the 16th, we had a Rural Minnesota Energy Board executive meeting. There is a group that was looking for, trying to think of the term of it more now. They wanted us to co-sign a letter for some transmission lines out in the metro area. So there was discussion from this group whether or not we should or not, because there were members, it was decided we would support that. That's the transmission lines. On the 21st, then I had our Southwest Health and Human Services meeting up in Marshall. Along with that, we had a joint personnel finance committee to get ready to start into union negotiations as well too. And again, as we all know, with cost of labor, turnover rate of employees, there's a lot to look at there, so more to come on that. On the 21st, we had a meeting with our ACE group, and the ACE actually has 2 vacancies right now with their regional directors, so they're in the process of interviewing for that. So, and then also had some discussion with the ACE group. I mentioned to you this concept of some after hours transit for the hospital, and working with ACE and also with community action partners. Because we had some questions as far as the liability, who would own the machine, who would own the van. And ACE has got drivers, volunteer drivers, still have to work out the logistics of the insurance and everything else. And that's where community action partners might come into play. So we're working on a actual grant request and to present to Brian West for that. Very tentative. Then on the 26th, we had our, I have to take that back. I gave the wrong date for law enforcement. The law enforcement was originally scheduled for the date that I told you of the 14th, and that got rescheduled to the 26th. That was on the 26th, 14th. Forgot that got moved. Also on the 26th, then I had our SMOC meeting down in Worthington. We did see, that was the first meeting then of our new interim executive director, Bob Benz, get his feet underneath him. He said this is definitely going to be a 6-month program, because he's got another commitment coming up in September that he absolutely has to fulfill. So not even the full 6 months that we've got to get things wrapped up on that. So we're in the process of putting together and trying to decide, we spend $100,000 on a headhunter company or not. That's always, it's a lot of money to spend and no guarantees. So, yep, and that completes my report for the month. Okay. Upcoming meetings, we already talked about before that. That's tonight. We got Magellan Pipeline public meeting. Peter and myself be there. Maybe the rest of you guys will be able to attend at all or not. So, okay, so and Steve, you won't be there. We don't need to introduce or anything. We're just strictly guests here.
They're just using the space, and Bill will be here to make sure that everything's working properly. I think he's going to start with them probably in this room and then overflow to the community room in case they need video in there, because the camera system goes that direction, not this way in. So
we were going to start here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it make more sense. I told Wayne to push the table out of the way and put more chairs in here, and obviously they'll want to have the podium up so they can speak from it. So
Yeah, will Bill be here?
yes, Bill will be here. I asked him to come in. Yep, I asked him to come in. Apparently they want to have coffee and water and all that stuff too, so, and cookies. Fly him with food.
And cookies. And as you all know, on your calendars on the 17th, we got the joint meeting with Western Mental Health and House. On the 18th, we'll have our employee appreciation grill out in us, and we're ready for the 25th. So,
just for your information, I did list the Western Health meeting in the papers as a official meeting of the board. That it was it's not an action meeting, but it's a meeting where you will all be present. So we cover ourselves under open meeting law.
thank you for that.
Is the next hospital meeting on the regular date?
Yes. Yep.
Mr. Chair, for the grill, I'll get there right about 11:30.
Okay.
Come straight to work.
Great.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. Got some other things we need to do.
No, but it's looking like 24th. I'm just plan on it.
What's the 24th?
Ditch committee meeting.
Oh,
We're working on that. We changed dates. Look at a conflict, so we're working on change. But everyone has said the 24th looks like a good one. Nick, you okay on the 24th? I don't think I heard back from you. Monday, the 24th for ditch committee.
I'll look.
Okay.
Like, wasn't I open pretty much all
What's that?
that time frame you gave, wasn't I open? just about every-
Pretty much, yeah. So other than that, I think we should be good for the 24th for ditch committee. I'll get that out.
very good. Any other calendar items? Any other business items?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you. Move to second to adjourn, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, guys.
Steve, do you want a copy of those?
Sure, thank you. Appreciate that.
Was there a